right, well, out front now, retired Colonel Cedric Leighton and former intelligence officer for the Joint Chiefs, and David Kang, director of the Korean Studies Institute at the University of Southern California. All right, good to have both of you with us. And David, you just heard Congressman King. He said that, had a little pause there at the end of the interview saying, my instinct would be to shoot down a North Korean missile, but we have to decide if we don't shoot it down, you might get more intelligence out of it if it lands in the water and be able to, learn more about where they are in the process. What's the right thing to do?
Well, my sense is that the decision will be based on where the missile actually goes, like Representative King says. One of the questions is, if we try and shoot it down and we miss, it looks a lot worse than if we don't try at all. Many of our missile systems haven't been tested in real-world situations, and I'm not sure that we want to use this one as the first time. But that's a decision that's got to be made by the military.
All right, that's an interesting point, but you actually make me even more scared. If we don't want to do it on a test because we're scared we'll look bad if we miss, I mean, what about when someone does it for real and we've never actually tested one, an interceptor?
Yeah, well, I think the issue is, in this sense, like, it's not necessarily to be scared because they haven't proven the ability to hit the United States yet. The issue is actually how we're actually going to deter them when they have the capability already to destroy Seoul and Tokyo. So having a missile that works doesn't really affect the deterrence equation because we already have been telling them if they actually attack us, we will take them out. So in many ways, deterrence is quite stable. So I don't think there's that much reason to be worried.
That's an interesting point. You're saying, look, they don't want to be wiped out, and they know that that would happen. But Colonel Leighton, the White House says North Korea doesn't have the nuclear missile delivery, right? I mean, obviously in contrast to the Pentagon report, which says that they do. Congressman King says they're getting closer and closer. But do you have confidence in the intelligence that the United States has? Or is there a risk that the U.S. is standing by while North Korea walks over that red line?
There's a big risk, Erin, and the reason I say that is because when you look at the fact that our human intelligence, as Congressman King mentioned, is basically a black hole when it comes to North Korea. We do have very good technical intelligence on certain aspects, but the problem is judging intent. And when you can't judge the intent, then it becomes very hard to determine exactly where they're going in terms of red lines in this nuclear case. So in this particular situation, I am concerned that we're going to miss some major indicators. Although we've been watching the North for over 50 years, it becomes very important to be very careful with how we assess this and to be very careful in how we tell our national leaders what is really going on there.
And Colonel, former CIA analyst Sumi Terry wrote in the Wall Street Journal today, referring to the appeasement that's happened over the years, as she termed it. Bill Clinton saying, all right, once when North Korea acted up, well, if you back down, we'll give you food aid, we'll give you some money. And then George Bush, after they got a nuclear weapon, taking the country off the terror sponsor list and giving them more food aid. And she writes, quote, Mr. Obama should ignore the appeasement advice, relenting now and giving Kim what he wants. Diplomatic concessions will only invite more dangerous behavior as it has in the past. She acknowledges that could mean that you could really get to the brink. But is she right? There should be no concession.
You have to be careful with that. Obviously, diplomacy involves concessions and doing things that may not be palatable to a domestic political constituency. But the problem that we have here is that North Korea is playing both to the international constituency, us and the other parts of the six-power agreement with North Korea, the nuclear piece that we're dealing with there. But we're also having a domestic constituency there, and that is whether Kim Jong-un is able to maintain his power. And what he, I think, is trying to do is really create a situation where he solidifies his power base within the military and shows that he is strong against the United States. And of course, those goals are on the North Korean side are antithetical to any goals on the U.S. side to keep him from being a nuclear power.
All right. Thank you both very much. We appreciate it. And of course, that missile launch anticipated really imminently could happen over the weekend. We're not sure.